Last night, J.J. Yaley bumped wheels with David Steele and stole the win at Raceway Park. Tonight, Yaley goes for a $50,000 bonus if he can win again. And welcome to the Indiana State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis. USAC Silver Crown Racing tonight on Speed. It's the legendary Hoosier 100. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin, joined by former USAC national champion, a former winner of this race, Larry Rice. This event, a lot of it's about history. This is the oldest continuously operating oval in the country.
Well, they started racing here in 1903, and all the legends have won here. A.J. Foyt right on down the line.
And the big story, of course, tonight is the driver who will be on the pole who goes for that bonus money.
$50,000 to J.J. Yaley if he can win here tonight. He won 3 races on the 1 mile dirts last year, so he's got a great chance.
He will be very tough. Let's look at the Silver Crown points after 2 races. David Steele, who won the Phoenix Opener, still leads, but Yaley's win at IRP puts him in contention.
Certainly does, and he's very good on the dirt. Steele is not quite that good on the dirt, so he's got a great shot to take the lead here tonight.
Now, qualifying, of course, is very important at a place like this. Some 45 cars here to try to qualify. A couple of drivers had problems.
Yeah, Kevin Newton got into turn 1 a little too hot. Back end came around. He just did a 3/4 of the way spin, and then he got going again. Jonathan Vinard also coming off of turn number 2, a little too hard on the throttle, did a little spin and just kept right on going.
And as has become a pattern on dirt particularly, everyone chasing J.J. Yaley.
He's got a lot of horsepower in that Ford. He used every bit of it as he went down and got quick time here tonight.
So Yaley will start the 100-miler later tonight from the pole as he goes for that bonus money. He thus is our IRL Fast Qualifier. Standing by with Dave Argabray.
Well, JJ, everybody's talking about that bonus money. $50,000 on the line. You're the IRL Fast Qualifier. Does that change your strategy going into tonight?
No, the strategy is still to win the race. You know, the Power Stroke Diesel was running really good. You know, Ed Pink builds these Fords, and they just hum down the straightaway. So, you know, I think we're a couple tenths quicker than second quick. Bob's got this brand new car working really good. The crew's, you know, worked really hard to get this car done. I know a couple days ago it still was in pieces. So, you know, the crew's definitely put the effort in.
Well, he's going to try to put his name on a pretty elite list as a winner of the Hoosier 100.
And I don't think anyone would be surprised if that turned out to be the case. Larry, top 20 out of time, and we've got a qualifying race.
That's a qualifying race where you have to finish in the top 10 or your night is over. There's only 2 races, this and the big 100-lap main event.
Now, Yaley's already won the winner's purse from last night's race at Indianapolis Raceway Park. His total take in 2 nights could be quite a bit more than $60,000 if he goes to victory lane tonight. Kevin Huntley scheduled to start on the pole in the 97 car alongside Tony Elliott in the Nolan number 20. Second row, Kenny Jacobs in the Radio Hospital 64 and the great veteran Johnny Parsons Jr. in car number 43. Row 3 tonight, Sport Allen out of Florida in the 89. Brian Tyler in the Team 6R number 21. Fourth row, John Heidenreich from Pennsylvania in car number 90, and Brad Knopfsinger in the number 14. He's out of Concord, North Carolina. And in row number 5, Murray Erickson from Missouri in the Budweiser 71. Craig Dory in car number 38 tonight will start in the 10th position. Row 6, Dana LaLiberte in the 04. That's a black machine out of Texas. One of the White family, the 100 for George White. Paul will be in the show a little later on. He is the defending Silver Crown champion. Take a look at the 7th row, A.J. Foyt from Galesburg, Illinois at car number 39. And veteran Jerry Niemeyer back at car number 76. And in the 8th row, Kevin Newton, who spun during qualifying, the Mataka 31 out of New Jersey. And young Erin Crocker, the only female in the field, in Mike Woodring's black number 16. Shotgun on the field, the great Roger Reger. What a story he is, Larry, in the 03 out of Minnesota.
Yeah, he has been around a long time. Of course, he's most famous for running the school bus engine at the Indianapolis 500 and actually making the race. It was a great effort, a great victory for him to be one of the little guys that could come there on a budget and actually make the Indianapolis 500. And I think everybody in America applauded him for that.
Sure did. Now to Bloomington, Indiana, Kevin Huntley in the 97, making his first Silver Crown start of the season. He was scheduled to be on pole, but they had to push start the car.
Yes, in the Silver Crown cars, if you have to be push started for the start of the event, you must go to the rear, so it's a huge disadvantage for him.
Brian Tyler will take us for a ride around this dirt mile at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. On board the Team 6R Print Express number 21. And Tyler, a guy who is a real pavement specialist. We've seen him win earlier this week. He starts 6th in this one. How will he be on the dirt, Larry?
Well, he's not too bad on the dirt. Although he's known for his pavement prowess, he's really pretty good on the dirt and has run a lot of dirt in his career.
And the difference here, of course, is the car's sideways a lot of the time.
They're sideways. You still want to run them straight, but they just slide. On a dirt racetrack, they slide. The whole key here tonight is how wide the groove is going to be, and can you pass on the outside.
Many-time All-Star Sprint champion Kenny Jacobs, a former winner here in USAC in the Hoosier 100, on the pole. And he grabs the early lead. We are underway in the qualifying race at the Indiana State Fairgrounds.
You see everybody dive right down to the bottom of the racetrack. Oh, somebody's already in trouble. Front end got at them. They got on the brakes. It looks like the 38 car of Craig Dory.
I believe so.
He got in there. The front end got out from under him. He got on the brakes real hard and turned left. But when you're hard on the brakes on these cars, they won't turn. They just absolutely won't turn. So even though he tried to get stopped, the front end just pushed right into the fence, and I'm sure it's going to end his evening.
Dory from nearby Speedway, Indiana, a suburb of Indianapolis, where the big track is located, and tried to make his first Silver Crown main event of the season. Locked them up and slid right across the racetrack. Take another look at it as they came down into one, and you can see him. He's up high on the outside already.
He's on the outside, and the front end just pushed on him. He's got that thing turned, for all it's worth, to the left, but it just would not take a hold. They put a lot of, these cars have a lot of left side weight in them. They're made to run that way, and once you get the front end out from under you, it's sometimes almost impossible to get them turned again.
When you drive on asphalt, everybody drives on the street. You understand how a car should feel, I think, on asphalt if you've never driven a race car. But on dirt, what's it like? How do you get that back end out so you can get around the corner?
Well, you have to run in the corner hard enough to get the back end out. I mean, that's just part of what you have to do. Sometimes you have the brake bias set up so it'll help turn the car in, depending on the driver. Some guys even will run three-wheel brakes. I never did like that on the mile because I thought the car wanted to stay much straighter, but some guys will do that just to help that back end get out. But the worst thing that can happen, especially early in the race because you got a little bit more fuel, is to get the front end out from under you, because that's exactly what happens. It just will not turn.
You can see that Dory had the wheel turned hard left, and the back end would not come around and allow him to make the corner. Dory's out of the car. He's fine, as you can see. We're under caution. We'll be back at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Back at the Indiana State Fairgrounds on speed, the USAC World Racing Silver Crown Series. We're in the qualifying race. First lap wreck and a caution, not quite ready for a restart. If you're new to USAC racing, you may have noticed that the midgets, the sprint cars, and the Silver Crown cars all look a lot alike. But we asked our colleague Larry Rice to go out and take a look up close at a Silver Crown machine. They're a lot different.
The Silver Crown car is the largest car that USAC has in its open wheel arsenal. It's a foot longer than a sprint car, and it has to weigh at least 1,500 pounds. These cars are designed to run 100-lap races on 1-mile ovals. Therefore, the fuel tank in the back of the car is huge. It holds 75 gallons so they can complete that 100 miles without any pit stops. Inside the cockpit, it's a lot different than a stock car. There are only two pedals. One on the right side is the gas pedal. The one on the left is the brake. They have a clutch, but it's hand-operated up here. And once you leave the pits, you never use it again. The drive shaft also is right between the driver's legs, so they have to make sure that it's very secure.
If it was insecure, you could really have a problem.
That's right, and we have had people get their ankles broken because the drive shaft comes loose. They have a lot of protection in there now with steel bars and so forth, but anything can happen.
Well, that was a complete restart after that incident involving Craig Dory. We'll have a complete restart this time around, so still 15 laps to go on this 1-mile dirt track. 10 cars will qualify for our feature. Kenny Jacobs on the pole in the 64, Tony Elliott alongside, and we are back underway.
Well, let's see if Elliott gets any better start. No, this time he's had to fall in behind too. Kenny Jacobs really getting good starts, initial starts, off of turn 4.
Riding with Brian Tyler in the 21, started back in 6th. Up in front of him, that's Johnny Heidenreich out of Pennsylvania in that blue 90. One car way up high near the wall.
Yeah, very high back there. He's up in the loose dirt, and that's not the place you want to be. You can see every one of these guys right down on the inside of the racetrack, almost rubbing that inside guardrail. And right now, until the racetrack gets a little wider, that's the best place to be.
Jacobs leads in that Radio Hospital car. That's a logo and a name we haven't heard for years. And understand that's a 1988 Gambler chassis in that car.
Yeah, those guys have been long-time car owners, and evidently they didn't buy a new one. They've just used the same one for a long time.
And obviously it's still very fast. Ride with Tyler here, trying to get around Heidenreich.
Yeah, the whole key on these 1 mile tracks is you've got to get a good run off of the corner. Sometimes you might have to lay back just a little bit. Oh, you can see a little dust right down on the very inside if you get too low, too close to the inside guardrail.
Heidenreich started in 5th position, and that's where he runs right now. He's behind Sport Allen in that black 89. That's the veteran Johnny Parsons Jr. in the red 43 car, running 3rd.
And all of those guys know that they're fairly secure in their transfer spot right now, but remember, every guy that you get around, you're just that much farther up when it comes time to go racing in the 100 lap.
It will be a straight up start, the top 20 on time, and then the 10 cars out of the qualifying race will line up according to their finish.
Yes, so that's exactly right. So the farther up you finish, the less cars you have to pass come feature time.
Kevin Huntley, who was scheduled to be on the pole, has moved up to 10th. And here's Johnny Parsons taking a look around Elliott for 2nd. Sport Allen back there in 4th. Heidenreich is 5th. Tyler continues to run 6th.
Yeah, Heidenreich got to the inside of Sport Allen, thought he had a chance. Oh, Sport Allen got a little bit wide. That's going to cost him as Heidenreich went around. That blue car went around him.
There's Elliott in the yellow, Nolan number 20. Look at Johnny Parsons putting that car right at the bottom, left rear just inches off the arm code.
Yeah, well, Parsons has been around this racetrack a long, long time. He's run a lot of races here, and he actually came from the semi-feature a couple of years ago and almost won this race.
That's what we're watching right now. In official USAC terminology, it's the qualifying race, but you might know it as the semi or the consolation, or like we were joking last night, even the hooligan.
Even
sometimes.
the hooligan, that's right. It's gone through a lot of name changes over the years, and the hooligan is probably the least complimentary of any of those.
Kenny Jacobs continues to lead in that blue 64. Johnny Parsons and Ricky Nix is 43. Runs in 3rd spot. JP races out of Indianapolis, so he's on his home turf here.
And Sport Allen back there in that black car once again got very high coming off the corner and allowed another car to get around him. So if he wants to stay in this race, he's going to have to stay a little bit lower coming off the corners.
Johnny Heidenreich 4th in the blue number 90. Tyler is up to 5th, getting around Allen, who's 6th. Brad Knopfsinger back there behind Sport Allen in 7th spot in the red-white number 14. That's Allen out of Florida.
Yeah, so those guys all battling up there. As you can see, the Sport Allen has fallen quite a ways back. And now that Knopfsinger is all over the back end of his car.
4th belongs to the 90. 5th is Tyler in the 21. 6th is Allen. 7th is Knopfsinger. George White in the 100 is 8th. Kevin Huntley still just on the bubble. He is 10th in the final car to transfer at this moment. Right behind him is A.J. Fike, the youngster out of Galesburg, Illinois, one of the real bright up-and-coming stars in USAC.
Right, and pretty uncharacteristic for A.J. Fike, because he usually runs a little bit farther up in the field than that, but he's struggling right now to make this feature race.
The RFMS McGladrey and Pullen 39 car, that's got a Foxco engine out of Galen Fox's shops. Allen in the 89 back to 6th position as he has fallen behind Brian Tyler. Knopfsinger right up with him now. Brad Knopfsinger, a guy who's got a lot of non-wing experience and a lot of dirt experience, and I thought he would be a little more in contention here in this qualifying.
Well, he just got around Sport Allen, and he obviously having a little bit of problem, though, catching some of these other guys.
Lead continues to belong to Kenny Jacobs. We're midway through a 15-mile qualifying race for the Hoosier 100. We'll be back. They've just taken the crossed flags in the qualifying race at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. The USAC Weld Racing Silver Crown Series tonight on speed. Alongside Larry Rice, I'm Rick Benjamin. Dave Argerbright is on pit road. Kenny Jacobs took off at the drop of the green. Larry, he's schooling him at the moment.
Yeah, he's never looked back. He's really got that thing hooked up pretty well. He's pulled away from all those guys, and everybody else pretty much in line. Nobody's really making a challenge right now. Elliott in 2nd place is about 4 or 5 car lengths ahead of Parsons in that red number 43, and he in turn is about 3 or 4 car lengths in front of Heidenreich.
Johnny Heidenreich out of Pennsylvania, 1 car in trouble. It's Murray Erickson in the Budweiser 71. Looks like he's out of power down the main straightaway here, so the caution will wave for the 2nd time tonight in that black race car, coming to a stop just short of the flag stand here on the front stretch.
Yes, and they're going to just push him across the racetrack and into the pit area, and then we'll get going again. No contact, just like you said, loss of power. There's no rear view mirrors in these cars, so when you lose power and you're out there, you don't want to just turn left and go down across the racetrack unless you've got somebody on a radio that tells you that it's okay. Not sure he has radios in that car.
Murray Erickson and the Guardian Racing Beast Mopar powered machine. races on pavement and dirt, makes the full Silver Crown Tour, and a young driver trying to work his way up through the ranks and become a force in the USAC Weld Wheels Silver Crown Series. So we will see what happens as they come out and retrieve the 71. Looks like the track crew may push the car by hand. Wonder what happened, whether the engine just quit on him or jumped out of gear.
Well, it could have been either, but obviously it was rolling okay, so there was no problem that way. But there are no rearview mirrors, as I said, in these cars. You are allowed radios, and if you have radios, your spotter can tell you when you can cross the racetrack like that. But in his case, if his radio wasn't working or if he didn't have radios, then the best thing for him to do is stay up there next to the wall and wait for them to throw the yellow rather than cause a big crash.
Get a sense of the huge crowd here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds, especially in the infield. This is one of those events. It's Indy 500 week here at Indianapolis, and this is kind of a gathering place for all the old timers, the people who've been around a long time who just love open wheel racing.
Johnny Boyd, Parnelli Jones, Lloyd Ruby, all those guys are down there. They love coming to this place. All of them ran here. All of them did very, very well here, and they always come back year after year.
Coming up, 5 miles to go in the qualifying race. We're under caution for the second time tonight. USAC Silver Crown Racing returns in a moment here on Speed. Getting ready to restart at the Indiana State Fairgrounds, the Weld Racing Silver Crown Series of the United States Auto Club. The qualifying race for the Hoosier 100 tonight. Final 10 starting spots are up for grabs. 12 cars remain in contention. Kevin Huntley in the 97 up into the qualifying position now, as is A.J. Fike in the 39, Larry.
Yeah, both those cars have moved up in the last couple of laps into the far enough up to make the field. But look at Parsons. Looks like he's going to maybe try the outside. Thought better of it. Went back down towards the bottom of the racetrack.
Great veteran Johnny Parsons Jr. in the red number 43, his first start of the season in the Ricky Nix car. He'll run predominantly the dirt tracks and try to make it out of the qualifying race into the big show. He certainly has a lot of seat time here and a lot of expertise. He's won quite a number of these Silver Crown races over the years. John Haydenreich out of Pennsylvania right behind him in the 90 car, the blue machine that you see as we watch JP down the back straightaway.
Heidenreich tried to get to the inside. If you go to the inside, you've got to make sure you get up far enough that that guy sees you. Because with that fence on the inside, if he doesn't see you, he's going to squeeze you into that fence, and you're both going to get crashed. So you got to make doggone sure that you get that wheel up there far enough, because without the rearview mirrors, he doesn't know unless that right front is up there side. There you go. Now then, no, see how hard he had to get on the brakes? Yeah. He was on the brakes so hard, he got sideways getting in there because he wasn't up far enough. And Parsons started down on him, and they almost touched.
Leader continues to be Jacobs. Second is Tony Elliott. Johnny Parsons third. Heidenreich is fourth. Brian Tyler, who's got our onboard camera, the yellow number 21, the Team 6R car, is fifth. Sixth belongs to that black machine that you see right behind him there. Looks like Sport Allen in the 89 hanging on to sixth position out of Pinellas Park, Florida.
John Heidenreich in this blue car, if you watch him, he's on the throttle so hard coming off the corner that the tire is actually smoking, just like you'd spin it on the pavement. What's happening is the racetrack is taking on so much rubber that it's, you couldn't see it quite as much there, but it's taking on so much rubber that you can actually spin these and smoke them. So that's something you can't do in a 100-lap race, or you're going to wear your tires out and be done.
And these are very powerful motors. What would you say, 750 horsepower?
Oh, very powerful motors, some of them up over 800 horsepower. And in this division, you don't have a spec tire. You can run any tire that you want. So some guys might run a softer tire or a harder tire, and the choice of tire is very critical in this division.
Unlike on the asphalt, as we've seen in the first two races, where it's a Hoosier and you basically run what Hoosier provides in that event.
Right. Here you can run any kind of manufacturer you want and any hardness you want. So, you know, some of these guys might have gone with a little bit softer tire in this shorter race. Look at Heidenreich. There you can see the smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Really coming off that tire.
White flag should be in the air this time by. The 15-miler has one trip to go around this ancient dirt mile. They've been running here for 100 years. Heidenreich trying to take third away from Johnny Parsons, but the veteran that JP is, I'm sure he knows that Heidenreich's right back there with him.
Oh, he obviously knows he's there. He's just kind of biding his time. He's not very worried right now, because right now he's never really seen Heidenreich's nose up there next to him.
Sport Allen in the 89 car, well in a qualifying position. This is the veteran Tony Elliott, the Nolan number 20. He'll finish second behind winner Kenny Jacobs, who scores the victory in the qualifying race here at Indiana State Fairgrounds.
Tony Elliott came from deep in the field to win this race before, so just because he ran second in this race doesn't mean he didn't have a chance come feature time.
How does the track change? Qualifying took place about 6 o'clock tonight. By the time we drop the green for the feature, might be a couple of hours later. What do you look for?
Well, usually what happens at this racetrack is that the more you run, the more rubber the dirt takes on, and it'll actually get faster as the night goes on. The big thing that you want to happen, or you hope happens, is that it gets black far enough up the racetrack that you can run 2 grooves wide. When you saw that dust down on the inside, that's not good because that dust gets on the black and it makes it very slick.
So Jacobs is the winner in the 64. We'll take a timeout and we'll be back for more of USAC Silver Crown Racing tonight on Speed. Back at the Indiana State Fairgrounds, the qualifying race complete tonight for the USAC Weld Racing Silver Crown Stars. We'll show you the 10 cars and drivers who will transfer to the Hoosier 100 a little later tonight. Kenny Jacobs the winner, Tony Elliott and Johnny Parsons. John Haydenreich tried hard but ends up 4th ahead of Brian Tyler. Second 5 will look like this. Sport Allen, there's George White out of Texas. Knopfsinger, Fike, and Kevin Huntley was supposed to start on the pole. Good to make the race.
He certainly did. He started way back in the last position and came through with the final transfer spot.
So 10 drivers will move to the Hoosier 100, which will take the green a little bit later on. Let's talk to the winner and get it downstairs with Dave Argabright.
Well, Kenny Jacobs, you won this thing, about 200 years ago, and got your name on a pretty good list here, but you don't get to come back here and run the Silver Crown cars. Is it a big adjustment from the wing sprint car you normally run?
Well, it must be. I qualified 23rd, so I don't think I forgot. I mean, it kind of feels like it did a long time ago, so it's just I think we drew an early number, which was wrong tonight, and we need to draw a later number. The car was okay in that B race there, but we're still not fast enough. We definitely got to pick up some speed somewhere.
You know, it's not at all uncommon here at this event to see the guy that won the last chance race do very well in the feature because he's had a chance to get on the racetrack a little bit later. This place changes a lot in the sunshine. Do you feel that way?
I feel like you're putting pressure on me right now. I don't know, Dave. It's going to be real hard to pass. The track's real narrow. You're going to have a good race car that hooks up right in the middle of the corner because I think guys are going to slip up in the middle of the corner. You got to have a good car to get in underneath them so you can pin them on the outside there a little bit from the middle off. And we're not that car yet. We're not there yet.
I've seen you race for a long time, buddy. You thrive under pressure. I know. Back upstairs, guys.
Any good racer thrives under pressure, but handling will be key here, Larry Rice.
Well, he hit the nail right on the head. If you can get from the center of the corner off, you're going to win this race because that's the place where you're going to make your pass.
And J.J. Yaley will start on the pole. He'll certainly have that in mind as he goes for the 50 large here in Indiana. We'll be back.
And we're back here in Indianapolis for the Hoosier 100 on the Indiana State Fair Mile. We got a special guest, Earl Baltus of Eldora Speedway over in Ohio. Right not far down the road here, you got a big race in September, the Eldora Mopar Million, $1 million purse for sprint cars. Never been done before in the business. Are you excited?
Oh, you bet I am. I'll tell you, there's a bunch of great drivers, and I think every one of them will be there that we really like at Eldora and over the country as far as that is. And, we ran $1 million race for the late models, and the only fair that we did for the sprints. After taking a poll over the United States, quite a few votes, whether it be wings or non-wings, they voted by a large majority to be a non-wing. And so we've tied in with the United States Auto Club, and we're really excited about it.
You know, your assistant Larry Bowes told me a moment ago you got ticket orders already from 42 different states. Do you expect a full house for the million?
I hope so. That's a pretty good sized purse. Of course, if I lose any money, what the shucks. As old as I am, there's don't make a whole lot of difference. But yes, I think we'll have a good crowd with that because the response on it in 42 states. That's not a million tickets from each state, understand, and we're not sold out by a long shot. But this is really, really exciting. I mean, I think this will be one of the best races we ever ran.
You know, I know the race fans are all excited. One last question here for you. You're still a race fan at heart. I know that. Do you get really pumped up when a big event like this at your racetrack is coming?
Well, it'd be best if you asked my wife about that because she really gets excited too. But We hardly talk much. We just work like hell and keep it going.
Well, I hope you keep it going for another 100 years, because there's nowhere quite like Eldora Speedway, let me tell you. And we'll be right back here in Indianapolis for the Hoosier 100. Stay with us here on Speed.
Before we get this race underway, Earl Baltus, our Grand Marshal tonight. Earl, say those words for us, please.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The legendary Earl Baltus, the Grand Marshal tonight for the Hoosier 100, giving the command to start the engines. 32 teams ready to go in the Hoosier 100 tonight at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Alongside the former winner of this race, Larry Rice, Cyberic Benjamin. Dave Argerbright is on pit road for us. Third event of the 2003 season for the Weld Racing Silver Crown Stars of the United States Auto Club. And what a terrific field this is, Larry, and some great names deep in the field. To watch guys like Johnny Parsons try to come up through there, it'll be a terrific show.
It should be a great show. It is going to be a little difficult to pass, as you've heard the drivers talk about here tonight, but anything can happen. In 5 out of the last 7 races at this racetrack, the leader at 80 laps has not won the race. So it doesn't mean this is going to be a parade by any means.
J.J. Yaley, the fast qualifier tonight, and the Bob East, Tony Stewart Ford-powered Beast chassis. That's the Power Stroke Diesel number 9. Getting fired up and rolling away. Yaley, of course, with that $50,000 bonus up for grabs tonight. He won the second Silver Crown race of the season at Indianapolis Raceway Park this week. There's Tracy Hines and his Mopar Power 37 rolling away. The Mopars haven't shown themselves to be that strong on the mile here so far.
Well, there's 3 Mopar-powered cars. There are 2 Ford-powered cars. Everybody else pretty much is in a Chevrolet-powered car. So, you know, the Chevrolets are by far the most popular. But the Ford, of course, is what Yaley has, and it's been very, very fast here on the 1 mile dirt track.
Now, one car not yet fired. That's the car of the defending series champion, Paul White, out of Texas, the 10. You can see the big number 1 on the tail tank. And for those of us who've been around a while, Larry, that used to signify the national championship.
That's right, and he won the national championship a few years ago, and it looks like he just put that little 1 on there just to remind everybody.
On board with Brian Tyler here in the Team 6R number 21. Give us some great shots, I'm sure. Now, what kind of track conditions will we see now that we're fairly far into the night? The sun's down. Will it be dusty, do you think?
It'll be dusty if you get right on the very bottom of the racetrack, if you get too low or if you get way too high. The place that everybody wants to run is right there, that slick part, the black part you see right there. But you're going to see guys try to get very low, and they'll get their left front tire in that dust right down next to the fence. That's when you'll see the dust fly. And when that dust flies and gets on the black stuff, it makes it very slick.
All 32 drivers are away. Paul White getting pushed away after firing the motor on the front straightaway. So we'll start here in just a couple of moments. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Hoosier 100. J.J. Yaley on the pole out of Phoenix in car number 9. Dave Darland, former series champ from Indiana, in car number 56. That's the Galen Fox car alongside. Second row, Tracy Hines in the Mopar, the number 37. Richie Tobias Jr. out of Pennsylvania in his own number 17. Third row here tonight, Teddy Beach, the Beach Boys 15 car, and Tom Capey from Pennsylvania in the 153. That is a red race car. Row number 4 looks like this. Paul White from Texas, a former champion. Matt Westfall from Indiana in car number 25. Take a look at the 5th row. Jay Drake from Val Verde, California in car number 11. That's one of the other Mopars in the field. Aaron Fike out of Galesburg, Illinois in the Zeruni in 67. 6th row, Russ Gamester out of Indiana in his own number 51. From Arizona, Jerry Coons Jr. in car number 53. Row 7, Jason McCord in the Contos machine, the 4 car, and young Levi Jones in car number 18. He's from Illinois. The 8th row, Dane Carter, Pancho's son from nearby Brownsburg, Indiana, and Jonathan Vennard in the Mucci and Magic 99 car, the car out of New York State. Vennard from here in Indiana. Row number 9, Dave Steele, the series points leader from Florida. And Larry, he's got a long way to go to defend his points lead tonight.
Well, he certainly does, and it's going to be difficult. Dave doesn't particularly like the dirt. He's really a pavement specialist. He runs pretty good on the dirt, quite honestly, but he doesn't particularly like it.
Starting 18th, the 40 car, David Bridges from Indianapolis. 10th row, Randy Bateman in the 55 from Murfreesboro, Illinois, the Randy Bateman-owned car. And Tyler Walker, top young gun in the 35. He starts deep in the field from Los Angeles, the RE Technologies, Kerr Agajani in number 35. The 11th row, the consolation, the qualifying race winner, Kenny Jacobs in the Radio Hospital 64 from Ohio. And Hoosier Tony Elliott in the Nolan number 20. Row number 12, Johnny Parsons Jr., the great veteran in car number 43 of the Ricky Nix car. John Heidenreich from Pennsylvania in the Sharon Banks number 90. 13th row, Brian Tyler in the Team 6R. 21, Sport Allen out of Florida in car number 89. The fans on their feet, the traditional wave from the fans to send the drivers on their way here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Out of Texas, George White in the other Paul White team car. That's the 100. Brad Knopfsinger from Concord, North Carolina in his own number 14. Row 15, A.J. Fike from Galesburg, Illinois in the 39. Kevin Huntley from Indiana in car number 97. And the final row, added as promoters options, the veteran Jerry Niemeyer in the 76 and Kevin Newton in the Mataka 31. He will start shotgun on the field. So 32 cars ready to go, 100 laps, 100 miles. We've got in-car views from Paul White out of Texas. Flips the visor up to make sure he can see properly. He starts 7th in that 10 car. Be interesting to see how strong he is here.
It certainly will be. And this is the drivers are very excited. This is a huge crowd here tonight. We saw the grandstands, lots of people in there, but there's a lot of people in the infield of this racetrack. They bring in their motorhomes, they bring in their lawn chairs. They're all over the infield too, so it's a huge, huge crowd, and these guys are very excited to be here.
This is a gathering of the clan. It's Indy 500 week in Indianapolis, and if you're here for the big show, you certainly come to the fairgrounds to see the Hoosier Hunt.
Well, that's right. Roger Ward is here, Lloyd Ruby, Johnny Boyd, Parnelli Jones, all the guys who have made history are here tonight because they love to watch it as much as all the rest of us do, and they all ran here, so they love it. I mean, we looked at some of the guys who have won here a lot, but you have to remember that Andretti, I mean, Pancho Carter, all these guys won at this racetrack.
Take a ride with Brian Tyler as well. He starts 25th. He is a strong competitor, and that's a very good race team. Wouldn't be a surprise to see Tyler pick his way up through the field tonight in these 100 miles. And Larry, I think part of the charm of this is these cars really haven't changed much. They're not offies, they have cages, but really they're the same as they were 40 years ago.
Well, that's right. They're sophisticated, but they look very much like they have always looked, and they really are the same kind of race cars.
We've talked about the $50,000 bonus up for J.J. Yaley. 6R is the promoter here, as they were at Raceway Park. A combined 71 races. No driver has ever won both in the same year. Yaley with a chance tonight.
Well, he'll make history in more than one way if he wins here tonight. And, boy, when you start number 1, it sure helps your odds, let me tell you.
Now, there's lap prize money up, the 2 winners' checks, and the bonus. Yaley would score, I'm sure, over $60,000 in 2 nights of racing if he can turn the trick. He's on the pole in that white number 9 out of the Bob East shops. Alongside, though, somebody certainly to watch, the great veteran Dave Darland in the Foxco 56. Great drivers all throughout the field. We're glad you're with us. The Hoosier 100 on speed, and we are underway.
Oh, Dave Darland got a terrible start. I don't know what happened, but and he bumped somebody else that looked like it might have been Tobias that he got together with, as his race car just didn't take off, and he fell back 3 or 4 spots.
Now, you don't shift in these cars, so what would have been wrong there?
Well, the engine probably just stumbled when he took off. You know, there are no gears. You're right. You run the same gear all the time. No, that was Teddy Beach that he bumped wheels with, and that's Teddy Beach right in front of him. The first time Teddy Beach has run the mile dirt that I'm aware of.
Beach in the 50. That's a family-owned team. Behind him, the 56 with Darland. Darland turned in maybe the drive of the night, other than Yaley's pass for the victory at Raceway Park. We thought Darland had him covered at Raceway Park.
Yeah, Dave Darland really was the quickest guy on the racetrack for the first 50 laps. They missed a little bit on the second 50, and he didn't run quite as well then, but he really was the fastest guy for the first half of the race.
Got a quick glimpse from inside Paul White's 10 car. White sitting 5th. He started 7th. He is right behind the 56 of Darland. There's Tobias in the 17. The blue car, slightly different nose piece, bodywork on the 17. That's out of the Tobias shops, just like his dad, Toby Sr. Richie's a car builder. He does different things.
Right. There are 27 beast cars in this race. There are 2 Stouts, 2 Drinens, and then some of the other guys who built their own, like Tobias.
Out of turn 2, that's White in the 10. Your leader continues to be Yaley out of Phoenix. He's got that yellow ribbon tied to the roll cage so we can keep our eyes and your eyes fixed on him as he bids for the bonus money. There's White in the white 10 car. You'll see it mostly as a number 1, but it does carry the number 10. Yaley all alone out in front, arrowing onto the front stretch.
Yeah, you can see he's pulled a few car lengths in front of Tracy Hines. And again, a 100-mile race. These guys know that, especially if you're up front, you don't have to make a run at him right away. Part of the strategy is to make sure you've got a good set of tires for the last half of the race. When you start this race, you have about 70 gallons of fuel. So you've got almost 500 pounds of fuel hanging over those rear wheels. So you want to make doggone sure you get the car turned, because if you don't, it's going to push right into the wall.
As we saw in that first qualifying.
Exactly. So these guys want to make very certain that they're doing a good job, and as the weight gets off of the rear end of the car, these cars will handle better, and they'll probably start pressing a little more.
Working turn 3 and 4. That's Johnny Parsons Jr. in the red 43 car. Remember, he started back in the 12th row after running up front in the qualifying race, and he's making a move around some of the other cars there.
He just went around Tony Elliott on the outside, so a very nice move. We see another car, that's Jonathan Bennett, who got high there, and a couple of cars got around him. So, you know, Parsons looks like he's on the move. A couple of years ago, he came out of the semi and came up and led the race, almost won it.
Working on Randy Bateman in the 55. Bateman from Murfreesboro, Illinois. Now, Bateman started in the 10th row. Bennett started in the 8th row at 16th spot, so JP is definitely on the move.
And look at this, he's going to try to make that outside move again.
Wow.
Wow, he's the only guy we've seen make that work, and he goes around him on the outside and then drops right to the bottom.
Is that veteran experience? I mean, Johnny's well into his 50s.
Well, he knows it. He did this a few years ago. He knows it'll work, and he's very confident that his race car is going to stick. A lot of these guys aren't confident, but oh, he got a little wide there.
Oh, boy. Up in the cushion and off the wall goes Parsons.
Very lucky that he just barely hit the wall and kept on going, but he just got in the corner a little bit too hot, didn't get her woed, and almost cost himself big time right there.
Lost the spot back to Randy Bateman. Doesn't look like he whitewalled the tire or anything. You'd think clipping it like that, he might have even cut the tire down, but it didn't happen.
No, he didn't hit it quite hard enough. I'm sure he'll be a little bit more careful going into turn 3 from now on.
Down the backstretch, Johnny Parsons trying to make some hay and get up toward the front. Yaley continues to lead in the Power Stroke Diesel number 9. Going for that 50 grand bonus. The pass he put on Dave Steele in the final turn at Raceway Park was a sight to behold. So far, he hasn't had to worry about any other traffic. J.J. Yaley, the defending series champion. He's leading at Indiana's State Fairgrounds. We'll be back. Welcome back. Coverage of the USAC World Racing Silver Crown Series on Speed. It's the Hoosier 100. Alongside former race winner Larry Rice, Iverick Benjamin, Dave Arkerbright is on pit road for us. J.J. Yaley, the fast qualifier. He stretched out a good lead. Not quite a full straightaway. I'd call it about a third of a straightaway. Tracy Hines, though, is no slouch behind him there at that 37.
No, all of these guys behind him obviously running pretty good. But they're, you know, right now they're not really pressing as hard as they might want to a little later on. The tires get hot, the fuel loads go away. That's when you'll see some movements, either good or bad. It could be that Yaley, when the fuel load goes away, pulls away even more. That's just something you don't know. Most of these guys, Hines and Yaley being two of them, have a lot of experience. They know how their car handles as it gets lighter. Teddy Beach in that 15 car, on the other hand, this is his first race, so it's all brand new to him, and he's going to be a little bit less. He doesn't know quite as much about what the car's going to do later in the race like the other guys do.
Now, he is a young gun, and if I'm not mistaken, he's come from midgets to the Silver Crown cars. He didn't stop off in sprint cars for a while.
Yes, he has. That's exactly right. It's a huge, huge difference coming from a midget into one of these things.
There he is.
Because these cars are very heavy. There's Dave Darlin. He started outside front row, fell to 4th before he ever got down to the first corner, and hasn't been able to make any progress, although he's been very close to Teddy Beach for most of the race.
Darlin putting pressure on Beach. Here's Paul White in the 10. From 7th to 5th so far in the early going. Still very early in the Hoosier 100 here in 2003. Let's take a ride with White as he comes back to the straightaway.
Yeah, and as you can tell, you know, just like all racetracks, you go out to the outside. When you get to the corner, though, right in here, you're hard on the brakes because you don't want the cars to slide up. He got in a little bit harder than he wanted, got up just a few feet, but not very much at all. but the whole idea is to keep that left front right on the guardrail. When Gary Bentonhausen used to run here, he used to actually put a little hubcap out there so that if he bumped it, it wouldn't flatten his tires.
Maybe not a bad idea for some of these guys, although I haven't seen anyone get quite as aggressive as that or as the way Jack Ewart used to do it.
Yeah, right, exactly. But Gary Bentonhausen, he clubbed the very inside of every racetrack, and he built a special little hubcap that stuck out about 2 inches from the outside rim, just so he knew he was going to hit that sometime during the race. And actually, the race that I won, he lost, and he lost because he had a flat left front tire.
Wow. Watching J.J. Yaley, he's caught Jerry Niemeyer in the 76. Look at him pick the inside wheel up, coming off the corner of the inside front wheel. That's not something you see in a Silver Crown car very often.
No, he's got that thing really sticking to the track. The track is picking up rubber. And you're right, he's picking that thing up pretty good. But that's because it's actually sticking better now than it did earlier in the night. And who knows, if it gets better and better, that softer rubber looks like somebody lost something going down the back straightaway there. But it could cause him trouble later on.
Working turn 3. Yaley's got lap traffic in front of him. George White there in the 100. Tony Elliott, a guy you don't normally expect to see at the back in that yellow number 20 out of the Nolan Racing shops. It's a great team. It's been around a long time. And they're just off the pace tonight. They've struggled.
Yeah, and you saw the flag when he's waving that blue flag with the yellow stripes on it. That is a courtesy flag. That doesn't mean that you've got to move over and get out of the way. That means that there's a faster car coming up behind you. You should show him courtesy, but it does not mean that you've got to just go over and let him go around.
Next car up ahead, the 40, David Bridges from Indianapolis, the MV Racing Machine. It's the white car you see at the front of this group of 4. Race leader Yaley all alone in the red and white number 9. The Bob East shops and Ed Pink Ford under the hood. George White moved to the outside there, kind of cut JJ off.
Well, see, that's what happens when you're getting that flag. Sometimes you move down to the bottom, and the guy who you're racing with will go around you too. So that's why you don't have to move over. It's just a chance that you take. Now Yaley goes to the inside, going to try to get the advantage on White.
Still bottled up, and yet by him going down into 3 on the bottom. Now he's got to pick his way around Tony Elliott. And now, yeah, it's going to have to come a push there.
Picked up a push. He didn't see, he couldn't go into that corner as hard as he wanted. We talked earlier about you have to get in the corner hard enough to get the back end out. Well, he just didn't get in hard enough.
Paul White coming up on Teddy Beach. This is a battle for position down into the corner. 15 laps complete out of 100 tonight. 100 miles the distance, of course, in the Hoosier 100. One of the things I've been impressed about watching J.J. Yaley extensively for the first time this year, Larry, he's good, I think, at driving a race car that's not at its best.
Well, that's right. He certainly is. He does, you know, he adapts. We saw him at Indianapolis Raceway Park do one of the best jobs on pavement I've seen anybody do, because that car was absolutely junked. He drove it on a place on the racetrack on the bottom where he kept the right rear warm and eventually won the race, but only because he didn't give up and he didn't blister the right front tire.
Hope you had a chance to see our coverage of that Silver Crown Battle Royal at Indianapolis Raceway Park. It was something indeed. David Steele thought he had it in the bag, gave it up on the final turn of the last lap. Trouble for George White in the 100. He is out of shape. It's like he's got a tire down right front, I guess, is down.
Yeah, he's hit something. It looks like the front end's a little out of whack because he got it so high down there. Might have hit the right rear against the wall.
Toby Tobias Jr. cutting the 17 inside of the 100, and I would think that George White will be bringing that car in. It looks like he's having trouble keeping it going in a straight line.
Boy, he certainly is. I thought he was going to pull in too, but there's so many cars around him, he had no way to get to the bottom of the racetrack. That's Johnny Parsons that we just saw there coming right up behind Jay Drake, and he's really been on the move.
Battle for position as we watch Jerry Niemeyer, Tom Capew started toward the front. There's Tobias in the 17. White, but the real battle here, Jay Drake out of Valverde, California in the 11, one of the Mopar cars. The 51, that's the car Russ Gamester.
Yeah, that's Russ Gamester that tried to get under it, and while he was doing that, the 25 car of Westfall got under him, so that one-lane racing went away pretty quick. These guys are racing side by side.
You've got some cars off the pace. They're kind of taking up room on the inside of the racetrack. The battle is for 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th as we watch Jay Drake go at it here. There's Capey in the 153, Tobias in the 17, Drake in the 11. That's Gamester in the First National Bank of Terre Haute 51, the red car. And right behind him should be Johnny Parsons.
Yeah, you can see that Gamester's running a little bit higher on the racetrack, and that's good news for the guys in the back of the pack. That means that that groove is getting wider and wider, and it's going to give everybody a little more opportunity to use the outside as well as the inside. 20
laps complete, 80 remain tonight in the Hoosier 100. As we watch Drake in that white and black number 11, the Indiana Underground Mopar-powered machine. He's got the 51 of Gamester behind him. Check back in with our leader, J.J. Yaley, down into one, unchallenged so far in the early going. Dave Darland hoping to get up and contend with Yaley. Darland is back and forth. We'll be back. 76 miles left in the Hoosier 100 tonight on Speed from the Indiana State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis, Indiana. Great turnout tonight to watch one of the legendary events at one of the legendary racetracks. 100 years they've been running here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. The red flag for the flip by the 55 car and Randy Bateman, giving Dave Argerbright an opportunity to kind of survey what's going on the front straightaway as the 55 is removed. Dave, team's taking the opportunity without penalty to make some changes.
Well, the race leader, J.J. Yaley, not a lot of changes on this race car. Looks like I'll have to shout. He's still got his helmet on. J.J., you looked very, very comfortable. Will you change this car very much?
No, we're just going to put some new tires on. The track's really abrasive right now. Our tires look better than a couple other guys, but anytime they give you the opportunity to put a good tire on, you better take it.
When you talk about it being abrasive, is there any concern with tires not being able to last the rest of the way? We've still got a lot of race to go.
I think we'll be okay now. I mean, we would have made it before, but we've been taking it pretty easy. So now this gives us about a 10-lap window where if I have to pick up the pace quite a bit, I can do it.
Well, he looks awfully comfortable out there. Let's step back here and try to get word also with Tracy Hines. As J.J. Yaley said, he's changing tires without penalty. Let me see if I can get in here and talk with Tracy. Tracy, are you comfortable with your race car at this point, and did you change a lot?
I changed enough, but we're in trouble. We misread the track. It's taking way too much rubber, and I didn't have enough spares mounted, so we're not going to last 50 more laps.
Well, we're going to get out of the way. I wish you well. In any case, they're getting ready to roll cars, and I just don't want to get run over, guys.
So he's concerned about tire wear.
Well, he certainly is, and I could tell when I saw that left front coming up on JJ's car that there was going to be a lot of guys in trouble, because when they get that much rubber, it really chews up the tires. JJ said that he wasn't concerned, but I'll tell you what, tire choice and being very conservative might make a huge difference before this race is over.
Team owner Bob East pairing with Tony Stewart to field the 9 car for J.J. Yaley. That was Bob in the red polo shirt there with a ball cap on, surveying the scene and directing the crew, measuring the tires. Why do they do that, Larry?
Well, the stagger is also very important in getting the tire wear proper, because if you get too much stagger, it's going to make the right rear tire spin more, and it's going to make it not only wear but blister. So you have to get exactly the kind of stagger, and on these cars you don't run just a quarter of an inch or so. You run like 3 inches of stagger to make them turn.
Cars getting refired. Bob East taking a look at things. Evan Avant, the crew chief for Yaley's car. Bob builds these cars. Many of them in the field are his own Beast chassis. Not quite a quarter of the way home. Your top 5, Yaley leading Hines and Darland, Beach and White. Teddy Beach with a really good run going in the early going. Capey and Tobias. Matt Westfall rounding out the first 10 here. As we take you through the balance of the lead lap cars, Jason McCord ahead of Steele, who's 12th. Not a bad run for him.
No, he's running very well. I think he likes this harder track because you don't slide around there as much.
Much more like asphalt when the rubber gets on it. Levi Jones rounding out the first 15 here in the Hoosier 100. And we'll take you back a little further. Aaron Fike, Johnny Parsons, who came out of the qualifying race, Dane Carter, Brian Tyler, and Johnny Heidenreich rounding out your first 20. Getting set for the restart. We'll be back on Speed. Back at the Indiana State Fairgrounds, the Hoosier 100 getting set for a restart. You know, this form of racing in particular, dirt cars on the miles, has been around for a long time, as we've mentioned a couple of times tonight. Some of the great drivers have used these cars to get to Indianapolis in years gone by. And we caught up with a couple of big names, A.J. Foyt, Johnny Rutherford, who combined for 7 Indy 500 wins. Talked to them about their favorite memories from the Hoosier 100.
I was running 3rd at the Hoosier 100. In the first Chevrolet dirt car, Herb Porter's car, and I was handling it pretty good, you know, right there toward the end, and Foyt came up and I started losing my fuel load, so the back of the car got lighter and the thing was buzzing the tires off of the turn pretty hard, and so Foyt saw this, and he was wanting a position, so I was third, he was fourth, and he caught me a couple of times and nerfed me just to let me know he was there. And finally I came off of the corner and buzzed the tires just a little bit hard, and he pulled up beside me and took over third place. They used to give nice jackets, nylon jackets with the Hoosier 100, first place, second place, third place. He knocked me out of my third place jacket. Dirty guy.
I can't remember that. It's been too far back, but it's possible. If he said it's probably happened.
I didn't think A.J. Foyt forgot any races he'd driven in.
Yeah, and I didn't think he ever nerfed anybody either.
Oh, no, of course not. Two of the greats, and believe me, two of the all-time greats, especially in these kinds of cars. And I count myself fortunate to be able to say I saw Johnny Rutherford and A.J. Foyt to drive dirt cars.
Yes, and I remember watching A.J. Foyt go around here, and he led the race till right near the end, and then he fell back to third. And after the race was over, he went by the front grandstands and he threw the brake pedal at his mechanic. Boy, was he hot. The brake pedal broke off, so he couldn't stop going into the corners.
Dirt Championship cars as they were known then, now USAC Silver Crown cars on the mile here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Lots of USAC racing coming your way, of course, over the summer and fall months. If USAC is near you, be sure and see the USAC Midgets coming up June 13th. One of the great races, the 52nd Hut 100 at the Terre Haute Action Track in Indiana. The Sumar Classic for the Silver Crown machines in Terre Haute the next night, the 14th. And then on June 15th, the Midgets are in Kokomo, Indiana. Get your tickets now. We'll be back.
Well, by its very nature, Silver Crown racing here on the mile is very exciting. One of the most exciting places to stand is right here by the inside rail. Looks benign now, but when they come by, hang on to your short.
Unbelievable view there. You are so close to the action, Larry Rice.
Yeah, you sure are. Look at Paul White. He got a little squirrely coming out there trying to get to the inside. Hung on to it, though. That could have been a big-time crash. Just a little bit more sideways.
He's right behind Teddy Beach in the 15, just 19 for stage and another tangle. It's like that Tony Elliott has gone around there, and it looks like Sport Allen's gotten into him. So we're under caution again now. This would be the third time tonight since the drop of the initial green.
Yeah,
yep, Tony Elliott, Sport Allen.
Yeah, we had a tangle on the last restart. We had two cars out in that being Brad Knopfsinger and who were the Heidenreich?
John Heidenreich in the 90 was involved in that one, and there was some contact there because the Heidenreich machine looked okay. And there's Dave Steele, the points leader.
Oh, I couldn't even see him.
David Steele. I was wondering if there was a third car in the middle there. I've been wrong a couple of times, so I didn't want to speculate, but David Steele caught up in the middle of that one.
Well, that's a tough break for him, and it looks like the rear bumper's all banged in. He might be able to get restarted if the front end isn't damaged too much, but it looks like he got into Elliott a little bit hard. He's going to take a look at it, so tough break for him.
Take another look at it as they arrow into turn 3. We were watching Teddy Beach there in the 15 car, and behind him Elliott spun.
Elliott just spun, and whoa, he had a miss, and I couldn't see who that white car was, but he knocked Elliott right out in front of him, and he had no place to go. He was going to miss him if that other car hadn't nailed Elliott, punched him out in the way.
David Steele taking the helmet off, taking the earplugs out. That's pretty much an indication he thinks his night is done. Now, it's early in the Silver Crown season. This is just the third race of the year, but with a narrow points lead over J.J. Ailey, I would think they'd try to get him back in the hunt.
Well, they'll go back in there and see if they can fix it, but it isn't an easy fix. The yellow flag laps do count here on the 1 mile, 100 lap races. So he's already lost a lap or two. So if he loses 8 or 10 laps, there's really not much chance of him gaining a lot of spots, so he'll probably just stay in the pit area.
Sport Allen stays in the 89. He's going to turn the wheel, see if the steering's still working on that car, and they can get him fired up and rolled away. Now, these cars use a battery cart, just like an Indy car at the Speedway, just like an IRL car, and then there's a little clutch that helps you get going. You need a little push to roll the car and to get up to speed. Take another look here at what happened. They're checking over the 89. He may be able to continue.
Yeah, I think he probably can. He made very light contact right there at the end. So let's take a look. Watch the lower left-hand part of your screen. You can see Tony Elliott just got in there too hard. He spun. He's sitting there right in the middle of the racetrack, and he got nailed.
Yeah, it might have been Levi Jones in the 18 who got
might have been Levi Jones. I think you're right. And poor Dave Steele, he was just a victim of circumstances and just, you know, got stopped, that's all.
Our spotters around the course telling us actually it was Jerry Coons Jr. in the 53, another white car with red numerals that got into Elliott originally. Then David Steele got tagged by Sport Allen, the points leader, in serious trouble. We'll be back at the Hoosier 100. Back at the Hoosier 100, the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Coverage of the USAC World Racing Silver Crown Series on speed and back underway. On lap 38, the caution laps do count in these 100-mile races, as Larry's pointed out. Last couple of restarts, we haven't gotten very far before there's been more trouble. Let's see if we can settle down and race here for a while.
Well, everybody's trying to gain an advantage on these restarts. You can see guys trying to stick their nose in under somebody, and when you do that, you have a big chance that somebody's not going to make it, and they're going to touch wheels, and they're going to spin. And look at them going down the back straightaway. They're diving all over the place trying to get some sort of an advantage.
Teddy Beach in the 15. That's the white car with the orange. Right behind him, Paul White, the 2001 Silver Crown champion. Out of Temple, Texas, onto the front stretch in the 10 car. Your leader, J.J. Yaley.
And you could hear from that in-car camera that he had to wait till he was clear on the straightaway to use the throttle. These cars, it's very easy to use too much throttle and really slip those tires. And the way the tires are wearing here tonight, that's not a good thing.
Yaley on the backstretch, the red and white number 9. Second belongs to Tracy Hines in the Indiana Underground Mopar. Third to Dave Darland in the Foxco 56.
Yeah, Dave Darland tried to get, he looked to the inside that time of Tracy Hines. Just couldn't quite get under him, though.
Darland started on the outside pole. Dave Argerbright slipped back at the drop of the green. He's on the charge now.
Well, Rick, during that red flag, that team did not change tires because they didn't have one mounted up of the compound that they wanted to run. So they elected to stay on the tire that they started, one of the teams that did not change. So he's got to gamble a little bit right now at this stage of the race on how much of that tire he wants to use, because his crew chief and car owner Galen Fox told me that when he looked at the tire on the red, about a third of it was gone. So they've got to make that dude last the rest of the way.
Well, I have to tell you, he's not driving like he's trying to make it last. He's running that thing. He's running that thing pretty far sideways and pretty hard on the throttle, trying to gain that position. So, you know, if tire wear is a concern, then Dave Darland is not taking real good care of that right rear tire right now.
Former national champion in the Silver Crown ranks. Darland thinks he's got a shot at another one this year. He's got 2 different rides. Some teams use, it's the same team for dirt and pavement. Other drivers have to use separate cars for dirt and pavement. That would be Darland.
Yeah, that's right. He does not have the same car owner in both, so he's got to have 2 different car owners. Here's Paul White. He's gotten around Teddy Beach, and he's catching those 2 guys in front of him. Tire wear, I think, is going to be very, very critical. Most of these guys did put on brand new tires, but even with that, they could wear them out if they're wearing as quickly as Tracy Hines seemed to think they were.
Top 4 in the field, all former champions. Defending champ J.J. Yaley is leading. White was the title holder 2 years ago. His dad, Bill White, was maybe the greatest midget racer seen in Texas, at least in the last 30 years or so. Guys like Lloyd Ruby, Jim McElreath would maybe dispute the all-time greatest title, but Bill White was a legend for a long time, and Paul has really come on strong here. Really surprised everybody when he won the title 2 years ago, I think.
And the reason that everybody was so surprised is because he had been so terrible on the pavement the previous year. I mean, he was just awful. He came back with a brand new race car, and he actually ran very good on the pavement that year, and it enabled him to win the championship.
Had a hard time at Phoenix in the season opener, where he expected to do very well this year. It wasn't super competitive at Raceway Park either, but tonight he's got a good run going.
Yeah, he does have a very good run going. And I still think he feels more comfortable on the dirt, even though he's much better on the pavement. And a lot of, I shouldn't have said he was so terrible. The car he had that first year was not probably the best pavement car, but he got a brand new pavement car, and he came to life on the pavement.
You will call a spade, Mr. Rice. I like that.
Yes, that's about right.
White has gotten by Beach, as you pointed out, and he's trying to race his way back to the front. Caution laps count here. And really, White is in a situation now where he probably doesn't need another caution. Meantime, Darland pressing the heck out of Tracy Hines in the 37 for second. Yaley's about 15 car lengths ahead of this battle.
Yeah, but he's not pulling away nearly as quickly as he did earlier, and I think he's doing that because he knows that his tire wear wasn't all that great, so he's going to run fast enough to stay in the lead, but not any faster than he has to, so he doesn't wear that tire down any more than he has to.
Lapping by Jerry Niemeyer there at the 76, started at the back of the field. Niemeyer not competitive tonight here in the second and third place cars onto the front stretch.
Yeah, look at Darlin. He is really pressing Tracy Hines. He's doing everything he can to try to get around him. And you can see when those guys are lifting that left front tire, looks like
one car's got a tire down. Right rear is down on George White's car.
And that may very well be a fact that he blistered a tire, because it's not always that you wear them out. Sometimes you can blister them, get them too hot, and they'll just actually blow from getting too hot.
Well, there you go. There's an indicator that tire choice and tire trouble certainly may be a factor here tonight. So the caution is out due to the problem for George White. We'll be back. Back at the Hoosier 100 on speed, 1 lap short of halfway, and we are back underway after the problem for George White's right rear tire. Caution came out. Here we go again. Now we'll see if Darlin and Hines can get up and run with Yaley.
Yeah, Tobias just gained a spot as Teddy Beach got a little wide. Tobias went around him, and it looked like,
way up to the wall.
Beach got way wide, and that's a lesson for that young man. You got to stay on the bottom of the racetrack, and once you get out there, you're leaving yourself wide open, because they're all going to try to do the same thing. They're going to try to force you out.
First 20 or 25 laps, Teddy Beach looked terrific, but that was going to school here. That's what you call getting up in the loose stuff on a dirt track.
Boy, absolutely. She was plenty loose up there where he was at, let me tell you.
We are halfway. Still having trouble getting that car to the bottom. Looks like it's really wiggling now.
Well, you know, a little bit of experience. You run these cars down into the corner as hard as you can, and then you just jump all over the brakes. So sometimes if you're just on them too hard trying to stop it, they do get a little wiggly.
Teddy Beach settling into the bottom, still wiggling into 3 there. Looked as though it almost wanted to get away from, really pushing. You can see him turning hard left, and that's not how you get around the corners in these cars.
Yeah, there's Matt Westfall there behind him, so Matt Westfall's done a nice job. He's moved up a ways, too.
Westfall had gotten by. The 39 car of A.J. Fike has closed in on Beach as well. Up in front, it's still Yaley, Tracy Hines, and Dave Darlin, the top 3. Beach was up to 4th earlier, but he has faded with that big slide that almost got him into the wall. Here's your leader off of turn 4.
Wow, and he's running a lot wider on the racetrack than I thought he would have been by now. He ran way up, clear up to the top of that groove, and now then looks like we got a little bit of a challenge as Tobias is moving right up on the back end of these 2 guys right in front of him, Darlin and Hines.
Richie Tobias Jr. out of Pennsylvania in the 17 in a car that he has put together himself, just like his dad. Toby was a terrific constructor and driver. Richie carries the number 17 in honor of his dad. Talked to him before the start. If you were with us, Dave Argerbright talked to Richie. He said, hey, I think I've got a car that's good enough to win tonight. And he's starting to get the car's starting to come on for him here a little.
Well, and he was leading this race a couple of years ago. It looked like he had a victory in sight, and the power steering broke, and just a few laps to go, and cost him the race. He eventually had to pull in. These cars, when the power steering goes away, it's not like driving just a regular car with no power steering. It all of a sudden drives like a giant log truck. You absolutely cannot turn the wheel.
Tobias settling into 4th in the 17. 5th spot belongs to Paul White in that white number 10. He's a little further back. Russ Gamester runs along in 6th in the 51. That's a very good run tonight for Gamester.
Yeah, that Terre Haute First National Bank car, he has run well here before, and he's always been strong in his Silver Crown division for a long time.
Started 11th, he's come to 6th, so Gamester's picked up 5 spots in that machine. After Gamester, see if we can pick out who's next in line back there. It looks like Jay Drake in the 11 car would be 7th. And then looks like the 53 is next in line. That'd be Jerry Coons Jr. Now, he had a problem earlier, and I'm not sure if he's on the lead lap.
Yeah, I don't believe he's on the lead lap because he was in that crash. He's the one that hit Elliott earlier in the race. So
Drake from 9th to 7th here in the first 55 laps or so tonight. Tobias running the American Racer tire, Larry. We talked about tire compounds earlier. Top 3 at the moment on Hoosiers. Tobias going with something a little different.
Well, yeah, there are a few guys who run the American Racer.
Oh, Brad Knopfsinger in trouble. Caution is out again tonight. Brad came to a stop here on the front straightaway in the 14 car. So the veteran out of Concord, North Carolina, will not apparently be around for the checkers tonight.
Now, they'll just come around, push him in. We'll get another quick green flag, hopefully. Just as soon as we can get him off of the racetrack. I saw him running very slowly down there along that wall. He just didn't quite make it to the pit area. He's only 100 feet short, but still he's on the racetrack and they have to get him off. There you can see, coming off of turn 4, the entrance to the pit area, right down here where you see these guys standing in the inside of the racetrack.
The Knopfsinger will miss a lap or two getting that problem solved. Back underway. Coming up on lap 60 momentarily. On lap 59, the green reappears. There'll be 40 miles to go. J.J. Ailey's led all the way. Haven't talked about him in a while because he's been unchallenged. That $50,000 check starting to get a little bigger in his gun size.
It sure is. And if I was the guy that put up that 50 grand, I'd be getting plenty nervous about right now.
Tracy Hines still second in the white 37, the blue 56. Dave Darland runs in third spot. Fourth belongs to Richie Tobias in the 17. He is on the move. Paul White is fifth. Russ Gamester is sixth in the 51.
And Gamester seems to be really knocking on the door with Paul White. There he goes to the inside. He's good enough. Couldn't quite do it. He had to get hard on the brakes. You can also see the 11 of Jay Drake. He was going to try to go to the outside, but thought better of it and fell back in line.
Good battle here for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Jay Drake from Valverde, California. Ride with White down the back straightaway here at Indiana.
Yeah, you can see these guys. This is into turn number 3 as they, barrel in there. Everybody's still running pretty close to the bottom of the racetrack. We saw J.J. Ailey try to move up the racetrack a little bit. Now then, Gamester looks at the outside of Paul White. He made that work. Paul White tried to stick too much to the bottom to try to block him on the inside, so he thought, heck with that, I'll just go around on the outside, and that's exactly what he did.
That's what's called getting a good run off the corner.
Exactly. We talked earlier about being able to apply a lot of throttle and get that good run off the corner down into the next corner. It's exactly what he did.
Toby Tobias in 4th spot in the 17, and now here comes Gamester. He's starting to reel him in.
Yes, he is. Jay Drake right behind those guys. He's catching them too. So, and look at Darland. He's still all over Hines trying to find a way to get around him.
Now we get down to the final 30 miles or so tonight, Dave Argabright. Things can really take on a different character here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. And we'll get to Dave in just a moment with that comment. We're not quite there, just past the halfway point. Richie Tobias, Toby Jr. as he's known, 4th spot in that blue 17. We've talked about it. That is a Tobias-built race car. That's a family tradition for the Tobias clan.
Yeah, and he seemed to be a lot faster. Oh, the yellow flag is out once again. He seemed to be a lot faster after the last restart than he was on this restart. I'm not sure whether the tires cooled down too much, or sometimes the stagger might change under those yellows and make a difference. So I don't know what happened, but he wasn't nearly as quick that time as he had been the previous segment.
Ailey continuing with the lead. He took the pole tonight, fast qualifier. He's led all the way. 62 laps are on the board. Coming up, our 5th caution of the night. Tobias 4th, Gamester 5th, White, Jay Drake, Jerry Coons being shown 8th. I would have thought he would have lost a lap there.
Yeah, I thought he might have too, but evidently he did not.
Let's grab a quick timeout. We'll be back with more of the Hoosier 100 on Speed. Coming up on less than 40 miles to go as we prepare for a green. Larry Rice, you're driving a race car in this series. How tired are you now?
Well, most of these guys are in pretty good shape. Even though this racetrack has been pretty demanding, you stick pretty tight. They're in pretty good shape, and I don't think the guys, especially the guys in the top 10 that race a lot, are going to be real tired. They've had a lot of yellow flag laps.
J.J. Ailey on the button out of turn 2 in the 9 car. He is your leader. You get a sense of how fast they are here on the dirt mile. If you're familiar with sprint car racing, these cars don't go as sideways as a sprint car does generally because they are heavier, and these are flat track race cars primarily.
Yes, and with the extra weight, the extra length, they have to run them a little bit straighter. You get them real far sideways. These things, with all that weight back there, they just want to turn around on you.
Tracy Hines 2nd in the 37. Dave Darland, former national champ, 3rd in the 56. Battling hard, trying to get by Hines. Kind of get the sense Hines is holding Darland up here.
Oh, he definitely is holding him up a little bit. Darland is trying to get on the throttle enough to get a run on him like he did before. That last time he looked to the outside thinking maybe he could go to the outside and outbrake him, and sooner or later that's what he's going to try to do. He's going to try to stick his nose in there and outbrake him getting into the corner. But boy, when you do that, you stand the risk of not making it work and running into him.
Great battle for 2nd spot on the racetrack. Trailing leader J.J. Ailey. Darland on the outside now. Can't get it done going down into the first corner.
Yeah, that time he had a notion he might try that outside move that we saw him use a little earlier. But again, you got to at least be halfway up on the guy in order to make that move work. If you're just not up, well, it looks like this time he might have it done.
down into 3. Dave Darland sneaks inside of Tracy Hines to take second and pulls away.
And you can see he got real far sideways that time as he went through the corner. Now then it'll be interesting to see if he has anything for our leader, because I think that J.J. Yaley's been up there just running fast enough to stay ahead of him. Well, we'll find out pretty quickly, because I think Darland's going to give him a little bit of a run for his money.
Dave Darland and Galen Fox is 56. Chasing leader J.J. Yaley and Bob East and Tony Stewart's Power Stroke Diesel Ford-powered beast. The 9 car, he was the fast qualifier, the winner last night at Raceway Park. Big Yaley bidding for that $50,000 bonus check put up by the promoters of both events. If one driver can double, it's never been done. It's never even been done that a driver has won an IRP and here in the same season. Yaley may write a lot of history tonight.
Well, he may. But remember, we said earlier, 5 out of the last 7 races here, the guy who has been leading at 80 laps has not won the race for a lot of different reasons. But, you know, it's always a possibility. You don't win this thing till you get the last lap in the checkered flag.
Closing in on the 70-lap mark. Yaley's led them all so far in the 9 car. But here comes Darland. You can see him chopping the lead down.
Well, Darland doesn't much care about wearing tires out right now. He's going to go for the win. If I don't win it, I don't care if I end up in the pits.
Dave Darland in that blue 56. Equally proficient on dirt and asphalt. Great history for Darland. Yaley, the defending series champion. Darland, the past Silver Crown champ as well. These guys know how to get it done.
Galen Fox, the owner of that 56 car, he's also kind of a legend in the sport.
Yes.
He's owned race cars for a long, long time. Had a lot of champions in the sprint cars, Silver Crown cars, but an Indy car mechanic for a while for the Genesee Beer Wagon out of New York. So he's been around this for a long time. Builds a lot of engines for different competitors around the country now.
Dave Darland out of Kokomo, Indiana, 15th in the national standings a year ago. Didn't have a regular ride in the series, but he's put a good situation together for himself this year. 3rd spot belongs to Hines, 4th to Tobias, 5th to Gamester, and they've got a lot of separation. No good battle going on there. Now the real focus on Darland trying to track down Yaley. There's 3rd, 4th, and 5th on the front stretch.
Yeah, Russ Gamester has gotten around White, so he's now pulling up on Tobias. He may be one of the faster cars other than Darland and Yaley on the racetrack right now.
Take a look back at Tobias in the 17, trying to close it down on Tracy Hines for 3rd. There's Gamester in the 51, White in the 10. That's your top 6. As we work into the later stages of the 2003 Hoosier 100. Richie Tobias Jr. from Pennsylvania. Great modified driver on the East Coast for a long time. Decided to focus his attention on Silver Crown action. And has certainly done well. Races out of Annville, Pennsylvania now.
Yeah, and he's running that race car pretty hard. I truthfully expected about lap 50 he might come on a little stronger, but it seems like he's kind of found his place there behind Hines. Once he caught those first 3 cars, just kind of been hanging on there ever since. Hasn't had a lot for him.
Watching Tobias onto the front straightaway. You can see the gap closing up a little bit. He's running a higher line than Hines. Tracy, I think, is trying to protect those tires.
Well, I think he is too. He was very, very concerned on that red flag about the tires and wearing them out. So I think right now he's being a lot more conservative. But look at Darland. I think he is actually catching J.J. Yaley.
Richie Tobias in 4th spot. Darland was the 97 Silver Crown champ, one of only 3 drivers in USAC history to score national titles in midget, sprint car, and Silver Crown competition. And indeed, Darland is catching up to Yaley. J.J. pushing up in turn 1 there.
Yes, he is. One of those other guys who won all 3 divisions was none other than Tony Stewart. Of course, Pancho Carter was the 3rd.
Tony did it all in 1 year, that great 1995 season. We may never see that again.
Probably not. That was pretty phenomenal. Look at Darland, though. He is really going after this lead. And if J.J. Yaley has been being conservative and slowing down, he better have his spotter telling him, time to stop that stuff, boy. You got to get on the throttle.
That is Brad Knopfsinger back in action in the 14, several laps down. So traffic will come into play. 25 to go here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. And this is what you come to see.
This is what you come to see. These guys going for it. Now remember, these guys start racing each other really hard, wear out their right rear tires. Tracy Hines might prove being the smartest of the 3 by laying back a little bit.
Russ Gamester was up in the top 6. He has gone to the pits with a problem in the 51. So Paul White should move back into 5th. Here's Darland on the outside. Yaley swings high to block it.
Well, they do have radios. They do have spotters. They are told where the guy's going to be. So obviously, J.J. Yaley, with 50 grand at stake, is not going to let Darland get around him in any way that's going to be easy.
2 past champions in this series, but I think Yaley's handling's starting to go away.
Well, he's running that thing a little bit harder now. Look, the right rear tire's smoking on Yaley's car, so you know he knows he's back there, and you know he's trying awfully hard. If he was being conservative, there wouldn't be any smoke coming off that right rear tire.
These two have chased each other into a full straightaway advantage over the 3rd place car of Tracy Hines as we close in on 20 to go.
Well, and all of a sudden, as he started smoking that right rear tire, he's pulled out to about a 3 or 4 car length lead. So maybe he was playing possum just a little bit, and the spotter told him it's time to go. But once again, you don't want to wear, boy, he's smoking that right rear tire.
And he's running a higher line. I mean, Darland's able to get to the bottom and then use that to get up higher on the straightaway and get a better run. But Yaley, as you say, has pulled back out to about a 7-car length advantage.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, a lot of drama, a lot of things could happen here, but Yaley certainly not going to give up. And he'd rather go out with a blown right rear leading this baby than he would sit back there slowing down, let somebody bump him and knock him out of the way.
Out of turn 4. Look at the blue tire smoke pouring off the right rears of the 9 and the 56.
A lot of lap traffic in front of them. These guys are going to have to get through this lap traffic. Now, you can't afford, and believe me, lap traffic is a huge problem on a mile racetrack like this. The groove is fairly narrow, so you can't waste any time, though. You've got to get around those guys. I think the first couple may be pretty easy, but oh, they got down. You see down there where it's not black? Yeah. It's very loose. Both of them got down there in that stuff and got a little bit sideways as they were getting a lot of wheel spin.
Darland, I think, has figured out, I'm sure he's figured out, that if he can get to Yaley in a corner, he's got a great shot because he's able to run a lot lower. 20 laps to go.
Wow, he is really, he really pulled up on him as they went up, got up into that lap traffic for whatever reason. Now then, you know, Yaley's got to be plenty worried at this point, especially when he sees those 4 cars in front of him.
Teddy Beach, Sport Allen, a host of other cars that are a little slower at this stage of the race are directly ahead of the leaders.
But the big problem is they're not that much slower. They've gotten around the really slow guys fairly easily. Now then they're coming up on some guys that are really pretty quick and haven't been lapped yet.
And they're racing for position.
They're racing for position, so they're not going to just roll over and play dead for him. So it's going to be a lot tougher with these next 4 guys.
Yaley in the 9 has led all the way. Dave Darland trying to reel him in and get by and score the kind of victory that Yaley scored last night. Look at this on the backstretch.
They're going to split him.
Darland high, Yaley low, and JJ holds on.
Well, wow. Darland had the right idea. I got to go where he doesn't go, and that's exactly what he tried to do. He saw that wasn't going to work, so he had to pull it. Oh, look at this. Darland trying so hard, he got pretty far sideways right there.
These 2 drivers started on the front row tonight, and if you're just joining us, you think, well, they're the class of the field, not a problem. Darland got a horrible start, got back to 4th. He's had to battle his way back to 2nd.
And he got a huge break as Sport Allen pulled to the outside. They were side by side down there, and it really gave Darland a chance to catch back up. But now that Darland's going to lose a little ground as he's got a lap car between them.
Teddy Beach in the 15 who ran in the top 5 earlier before having problems. I'm sorry, that's Levi Jones in the 18. Oh, the right rear comes apart on Darland. You can see the car heel over on its right rear, and the tire lets go big coming out of turn 4.
Well, we talked about, was he going to have enough right rear? Now then, I'll tell you who's really worried. It's J.J. Yaley. And this could be a big break for J.J. Yaley, though it might bring out the yellow flag and give him enough tire to finish this race.
Caution will be out for Dave Darland, who was 2nd and flying. We thought a couple of different times he had enough to get by Yaley and upset JJ's bid to double up here at IRP and at the fairgrounds and win that $50,000 bonus check. Instead, it's Darland who used up the right rear trying to catch the leader.
Well, it'd be very interesting to have a real close look at the right rear tire on J.J. Yaley's car, because we might be able to see how well it's worn. I can't tell from that angle, but man, oh man, you know, he stands a good chance. If Darland's out of a tire, then he could be too. Of course, Darland's tire was 30 laps older because he didn't change.
take another look in and out at turn 4.
You can see it's going flat. That's the reason the left front tire's up. That tire was already going flat. He wore it clear through the cords, and the tire was going down. Look at the rubber flying up off of that tire as he blew that tire. He did a great job hanging onto that thing. It'd been real easy to put that baby in the fence right there.
If you're new to dirt track racing, these are bias-ply tires, and that's one reason why this can happen when a tire loses pressure like that.
Well, that's right. The bias-ply tires a little bit different, and when they go big time. As we see, they're picking up a little of the tread and the rubber. They'll try to get this done as quickly as possible, though. They want to run as few yellow flag laps as they can and get this baby back under green.
Well, the 56, Dave Darland, in the pits, trying to change the right rear and get him back out, but he is missing time, of course, because these laps do count under caution. Dave Argabright.
Well, Larry Rice, you touched on it just a moment ago. You never want to leave early for your car in the parking lot at the Hoosier 100, because this race is legendary for late race happenings where somebody has maybe dominated the race, looks like they've got it in their pocket, a flat tire, the engine quits, the steering breaks, all kind of things like that. Some of it's just the nature of an abusive racetrack on a piece of equipment for 100 laps, but that's why the drama of the Hoosier 100 has lasted all these years. You never know what's going to happen all the way until the end.
And I'm sure Dave Darland didn't think that he was going to use up his right rear tracking down Yaley.
Well, he didn't really care. You know, at that point, he was either going to win the race or end up in the pits. I mean, that was his philosophy. You know, like, it doesn't do me any good to run second. I want to win this baby. And he had to know that his chances of winning or keeping that tire on him weren't as good as they would have been had he put on a different tire. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out for him, that's all.
Well, the 56 crew going to work. They put a new right rear on the car, but under caution, Darland has missed a few laps. 15 to go. Yaley leads Tracy Hines now and Tobias White and Jerry Coons Jr. Thought Coons missed a lap in that wreck, but he was able to stay on the lead lap, and he is fifth. We will be back with more of the Hoosier 100 tonight here on Speed. Welcome back to the USAC Weld Racing Silver Crown Series tonight here on Speed. Your leader is Yaley. We're back underway, and Hines wiggles it down into one.
Yeah, and I'm sure Tobias knows what's going on. Those two guys in front of him, Sport Allen, those guys, they did move over, let them go by. That was great sportsmanship on their part.
Hines and Tobias fighting it out for second. Dave Argabright, does Hines know what's wrong with the car?
Well, I talked with his pit crew, and they said the tire is not necessarily going down, but during the yellow, they felt that the tire lost a little bit of pressure. It has about 3.5 pounds in it. Their bet is that back under green, the temperature climbs, the tire's going to be all right. They don't think they're losing any air right now under green.
But before that could happen, Richie Tobias got the jump on Tracy Hines and grabbed second, and he's pulling away.
Yes, he is. He's pulled away. Now the question is, can he catch our leader? And if he can catch him, can he apply enough pressure to make Yaley smoke that tire some more?
We saw Dave Darland reel in Yaley on the previous green flag run. Looks like Toby's got a little push in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, he's got a little handling problem of his own. Meanwhile, White comes up. He's getting around Sport Allen. He's in third position. So if Rich Tobias can get up there and put a little pressure on it, he may make Yaley smoke that right rear tire enough so he can win this race.
10 miles to go. Paul White is fourth, riding down the backstretch. Look at how dusty it is late in the race here.
Yeah, and you can see here comes Jerry Coons. He's also going to get around the lap car. That's Tyler right behind him. Tyler up quite a ways now, putting a little pressure on Coons.
Brian Tyler and the Print Express Team 6R number 21 trying to move up. Late in the going. Tracy Hines third. Paul White is fourth. Jerry Coons is fifth. Allen, the black car there, is lapped. Should be Brian Tyler back in sixth ahead of Jay Drake.
Certainly is. Those guys all battling each other for position as this race draws down near the end. And, you know, Tracy Hines doing a very good job with that left rear tire being as low as it is, and Paul White not really able to pull up and do much with him right now. Jay Drake trying to make a move on Tyler while he's trying to get around the lap car.
Tyler trying to make a move on the inside, see if he can get around Sport Allen and reel in the car in front of him as we ride with Tyler off of turn 2. Hear the tires break loose.
You can hear them. They're smoking the tires, actually busting them loose coming off the corner. Let's just listen.
Tyler's car, one of the many Chevy-powered entries here tonight. There's Richie Tobias in the 17. Paul White in the 10. Jerry Coons Jr.
Yeah, he just got around Tracy Hines, as that left rear tire is giving Hines all kinds of problems. So Coons has moved up one more position.
J.J. Yaley has led all the way in the 9 car. Here's White in the 10. 2001 USAC Well Racing Silver Crown National Champion out of Temple, Texas. Has a very good night going. His first good run of the season. Yaley with 5 to go has a 10-car length advantage over Richie Tobias Jr.
Well, yeah, it looks like Yaley survived the big push from Dave Darland, and now that he can like more or less baby that right rear tire. It'll be interesting to see how much rubber's left on it when it's all over with, though.
Yaley bidding for the sweep of events in Indianapolis this week. If he can pull it off, a $50,000 bonus check. Now, last fall, David Steele made some history in the USAC Midgets at Raceway Park. He won both ends of the Twin 25s and won a $50,000 bonus. Started from the back to win the second feature. They ran a similar event at Irwindale. You saw it on Speed a couple of weeks ago. No one could do the job. Tracy Hines had the opportunity there. Couldn't get it done. Yaley, slightly different scenario, but he seems to be on his way to the big prize money.
Well, as a driver right now, you're thinking, oh, man, only a few laps to go, 4 laps to go. I hope that baby hangs on. And believe me, he's not smoking that right rear tire now. He's babying that thing because he's not sure how much wear's in it. It doesn't appear that it's worn all that much, but believe me, he is very concerned right now about that thing getting to the last 3 laps.
The Bob East and Tony Stewart owned number 9, a Power Stroke diesel Ford-powered machine. It's one of Bob East's dirt chassis. Tobias in his own home-built number 17 out of Annville, Pennsylvania in second, and Paul White chasing him down.
Paul White very strong here near the end of the race as he's really caught Tobias here in the last few laps.
Tire wear certainly about the only issue remaining for the drivers running up front after Dave Darland had the right rear go away on the 56 when he was tracking down Yaley a few laps back.
Yeah, I think it would have been, if somebody could have put some pressure on Yaley, it might have made a huge difference. But once he's out there and he didn't have to really press, it really helped his cause and helped him save that right rear tire.
You could tell in that 10 or 12 lap span, blue smoke pouring off the right rear, left front tire in the air, and Yaley really with the car sideways. He was using up everything he had. White flag is out for J.J. Yaley.
Boy, he's smelling that money now, believe me. He knows he's only got 2 corners to go, and that's a huge, huge payoff.
Now, the point lead for David Steele after 2 races coming in was pretty slim over Yaley. Steele crashed out early. He will not have a good finish. This may well put Yaley in the points lead as well.
Yeah, probably will put him in the points lead, which is just an added bonus for a really great week for J.J. Yaley.
You see that 50K decal that was slapped on the side bodywork before the start? Give him the check. J.J. Yaley wins flag to flag at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Gains a $50,000 bonus. The Hoosier 100 goes to J.J. Yaley here in 2003.
Man, am I glad I'm not the insurance company that insured this baby, because they lost some money on this one.
Yaley goes from the pole to the checkered. Richie Tobias goes up alongside to give him a wave of congratulations. Paul White finishes 3rd in the 10 car. Dave Argerbright will meet our winner in just a moment. Larry Rice, you got to be impressed with the job this guy did here tonight.
Very impressed. You know, he ran as hard as he had to run to win the race, and that's the object of the game. When you've got a tire wear concern, obviously that red flag at lap 25 really helped. He got to put on a brand new rear tire. Dave Darland didn't.
Dave Argerbright.
You know, J.J. Yaley, no matter how long and far your career goes, you're never going to forget this night right here. Were you concerned when Dave Darland began to threaten late in the race?
I was a little bit. You know, they said he was closing in, so I had to pick up the pace a little bit. But, you know, I think the thing that bothered me the most about lap 40, I had to go to the bathroom really bad.
Did you take care of the problem?
Not yet. Not yet.
Well, it'll be a short interview, I guess. You know what your wife told me before this race? She said if he wins this money, he's probably going to want to build a go-kart track in our backyard. How about it? Is that on the agenda now?
It could be. You know, we're working on having our first one here before too long, so we'll put this money away so maybe when there's a little one of me running around somewhere, we can get him a go-kart.
Now, earlier this season, did you dream of even this kind of a great start? I mean, all 3 divisions, you're doing very, very well. you got to be just tickled to death.
Oh, it's awesome, especially for the Silver Crown team. This Power Stroke Diesel is our new sponsor. Ed Pink's building his Ford, and they're just hauling butt. I can't say enough for all the teams. Everything's going good. Hopefully it can just continue. We got a lot of racing left to do this year.
Hey, man, go take your break. You need a break.
He may run faster getting to the restroom than he did getting to the checkered flag tonight. J.J. Yaley accepts the applause of the crowd here. Big crowd on hand at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. And we're getting some information. The $50,000 bonus check plus the winner's purse from last night and tonight may equal the biggest payday in modern USAC history. Even bigger than the payday David Steele enjoyed last fall at Raceway Park. Yaley beats Tobias, Paul White, Jerry Coons Jr., and Tracy Hines, your top 5. Hines with a good run to hang on, I think, to 5th spot.
I think you're exactly right. He did a very good job with that car that had a very low left rear tire.
Tyler is 6th, and Johnny Parsons Jr. out of the consolation, out of the qualifiers race, finishes 7th.
Yeah, Dane Carter 8th, Matt Westfall, and Aaron Fike, all those young guys who did a great job.
So a great run tonight in the USAC Silver Crown Series. 3rd race of the 2003 season. J.J. Yaley doubles at IRP at the fairgrounds and wins $50,000. All the motorsports information you need available 24/7 at our website, speedtv.com. For Dave Argerbright and Larry Rice, I'm Rick Benjamin. Congratulating our winner tonight, J.J. Yaley. We'll see you next time here on